One of the biggest reasons I train the way I do isn't races, PR, or how I look. It's my daughter. I want her to grow up seeing what it looks like to show up when things are hard, to take care of her body, and to not just quit because something feels uncomfortable. Welcome back to the Hybrid Athlete Dad Podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about fitness lessons I want my daughter to learn. Now, before I dive into today's episode, I like to go over anything that I find that's interesting, helpful, informative when it comes to fitness, when it comes to nutrition, or whether it just comes to life in general. So, kicking off today's episode, not sure which part of the country you're in, but I know where I am, we got a big snowstorm this past week. Actually, yesterday, we ended up getting 20 inches of snow. I knew it was coming. I knew that it was going to be coming in overnight. I knew the roads weren't going to be great. So what I ended up doing is I switched up my routine and I ended up going on Sunday to the gym. In the morning, the snow actually started about 8. I got to the gym a little bit before 7. I was able to get my workout in and then was able to come home. Didn't do any running yesterday. On Sunday, now today, on Monday, got up as I normally would in the morning at 5:30, got up and went out and was able to snowplow the driveway this morning at 5:30. Actually did it 3 times yesterday, once today. Again, we got about 20 inches of snow and then was able to, or actually probably have to go one more time later today just because it snowed about probably another inch or two, which I thought I was going to be done for the next little while. Probably spent about 8 hours the last 2 days or so shoveling snow. Wife is 31 weeks pregnant, so she's obviously not going to be out there assisting at all. So it's just myself going out there and getting the job done. But that wasn't going to stop me from running. I was thinking about maybe do I go to the gym a little bit later this morning because our daughter is home from daycare and get a workout, not so much a workout in, but go on the treadmill, get some running in. But the timing wasn't working with when my wife had scheduled work calls, as I was going to be watching my daughter during that time. So I ended up just going off and getting in early in the morning after snow blowing, eating a quick breakfast, going off and getting the 5 miles of running in not the best conditions. I think I ended up going about 9 minutes a mile, which really wasn't too bad, all things considered, for how bad the roads were. There was a good chunk of the roads that were a lot of slush and snow. And I was telling my wife there was this one part of the run where I was coming down a neighborhood and someone had a plow and they were plowing out their driveway. So they just plowed out their driveway and now I have to run behind that plow. Well, I obviously don't want to run behind that plow if they're going to be backing up. I don't know if they see me. So I stopped for a second, hit my watch, like, okay, they're going to back up and then I can run by them. They whistle me to go on by. But the thing is, there's about a 3 or 4 foot pile of snow I have to jump over, then run and then jump over another one. I feel like I was doing a steeplechase, but got the run in. Wasn't the best. It was actually, there wasn't too much wind, but it was about 14 degrees and there was about some freezing rain that was coming and hitting the face. But got the run in, did my Monday route. Again, wasn't the easiest, but I just make sure I get it in when it's a little bit slushy. When it's not the best conditions, I just take it a little bit slower, but just continuing to stack the wins and continuing to push myself out there, even when it does feel uncomfortable. And I think that's a good leeway into today's episode, which again is fitness lessons I want my daughter to learn. And it's funny, actually, it's going to be daughters, with our second one going to be born here in about 2 months. But I want my daughter to understand that pain is often more mental than it is physical. That most runs don't end because your body can't keep going. They end because your mind starts negotiating. Okay, if I just run a little bit further and then I'm done, that'll be it. I'm just glad that it was super. The weather today was super terrible. Instead of going off and doing my 5 mile run, I get 2 or 3 miles in, and you start negotiating with yourself. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone out there and I've been on a run and I'm like, oh, my legs are killing me. sore. I don't want to be out here. I come home, finish the run. It's like, wow, all my leg pain has gone. Yes, there's real injuries that you may deal with, but I'm talking when you go off and you run and like, oh, my Achilles is hurting, and then I come back in and there's no Achilles pain. A lot of times it's just mental. It's just my mind trying to almost like play tricks on me because at the end of the day, my body's trying to protect itself. So I have to think, okay, is this an actual pain or it's just my body just trying to get me out of what I'm doing? The discomfort that you feel is going to be scary at first, but again, you'll learn that it's temporary. And you don't need to learn or you don't need to eliminate this discomfort, but you need to learn how to move through it. I know that I'm going to feel uncomfortable, that today's not going to be the best run. I'm obviously going to experience some discomfort when I'm out there, but I move through it anyway. And this lesson can carry into whether she's going into school, whether work, relationships, life, because discomfort isn't a stop sign. It's usually just a checkpoint. Okay, this is how I'm feeling, and here is how I'm going to move beyond it. And again, I just wanted to understand that pain is often more mental than it is physical. We make up in our mind how hard it's going to be, what our body feels like. But I can tell you, every time I go out there, I think the run is going to be exhausting, especially this time of year where we're in the dead of winter, dealing with snow, dealing with cold wind, dealing with the cold within itself. I feel better almost 100% of the time after going out there and gotten that run in. I wanted to put herself in uncomfortable situations on purpose. No one accidentally signs up for a marathon. You choose something hard so you can grow into the person who can handle it. It's hard. It's hard doing a marathon. I don't want to hear otherwise. If you're just an average person and you're going out there and you're training, there's just nothing easy about it. And that's why I think it's like 1% of the population or 1% of people have ever run a marathon in their life. Because it's not easy. And that's why I do like doing races, because it does put myself in those uncomfortable situations. It does put me outside my comfort zone, because hard things expand your confidence, but not because they're easy, but because you survive them. When I got off and I was at mile 21 in the marathon, I thought I was dying. it was it was brutal. It wasn't good. I was, very deep in the pain cave. Legs couldn't make it. In a typical 5 mile run, I have no problem at all. But the last 5 miles of this marathon was just absolutely killing me. But I survived it, and now I'm like, oh, I did a marathon. Okay, now how can I improve upon it the next marathon that I do? Sometimes life doesn't always give you a warm up. Rather, training for discomfort prepares you for that. And I don't want to protect my kids from challenges. I'd rather prepare them for it, because life's not easy. You're going to get kicked down. There's going to be seasons of life that are easy, seasons of life that are hard. Doesn't matter what season that you're in right now. Sometimes it may change whether excuse me, whether you would like it or not. And just knowing that there's just going to be uncomfortable times. Like for me, that was getting laid off from a job the day before I was supposed to run a half marathon. That was not an enjoyable experience. But at the same time, I was at the cardiologist when I found out that was going to be happening, and I was getting an EKG done because there was something abnormal that came up on my previous EKG. I never ended up figuring out what it was. Maybe it's just a common abnormality, but nonetheless, that's definitely uncomfortable. You definitely don't expect that, especially when you've been working at a company for 4.5 years and you think you're doing a good job, and then one day they just want to cut some costs, cut some expenses, trim the team down, and you can't expect that. So how are you going to resonate on the back end? The same thing with running. If I go out and I do a terrible run, or the workout doesn't feel great, am I going to quit, or am I just going to continue to show up day after day, no matter what? I want her to take nutrition seriously, especially protein. Food isn't just a fuel for workouts, it's fuel for recovery, growth, and energy. So when you're looking at foods, I'm typically looking at carbs, fats, proteins. So for me, typically I want to get about 400 grams of carbs, about 60 to 70 grams of fat, and about 175 grams of protein in per day. Baseline around those numbers doesn't have to be exact, but at least for the protein goals, always striving to hit that 175 per day. Because protein supports muscles, it supports hormones, recovery, and just the overall long-term health. Skipping meals or under eating is always going to show up later. It's going to show up in your performance. It's going to show up in how you feel. And on the flip side of that, under eating, if you're not eating good, you're not eating healthy. I mean, at the end of the day, like taking care of your body is a form of self-respect. And how do you feel about yourself? Because you can't out-train poor nutrition, just like you can't out-train poor work habits. If you have bad habits, it's going to lead into poor nutrition. And then you look up 30, 40, 50 years of your life has gone by and you're not in a place that you want to be in. And yeah, it's easy to blame someone else, but at the end of the day, it's looking at yourself in the mirror and figuring out, okay, like, where did I go wrong? And I think nutrition has a big aspect of that. I wanted to understand that consistency beats motivation every time. Motivation, it's unreliable, but routines are not. You don't need to have a perfect week every single week. No one has perfect weeks or perfect days every single day. You need to have repeatable ones where I know even if I didn't have a great workout this Thursday, I'm going to show up next Thursday. I'm going to do that workout again, and the following Thursday, and the following Thursday, and the following Thursday, and every Thursday after that. And I'm going to stack these wins. So even if I have one bad Thursday, if I have 5 great Thursdays in a row, there's no issue there at all. I'm sure you've been there where you go to the gym and I'm warming up for bench press. Now the warm up feels heavy. Okay, this is going to be a challenging workout. Next week I come in, no issues at all. And just continuing to show up day after day after day after day, even if you don't feel as though you're making progress, you are. It's just small, it's going to compound because progress compounds quietly. Like if I want a 6-pack ab, and I do abs for a week, for a month, probably not going to see much results. What happens if I couple that with a nutrition and diet plan and it's been about 4 or 5, 6 months? Okay, now we're starting to make some progress. Because small actions often matter more than big efforts. So just again, consistently eating healthy, consistently going to the gym. I like to have off days. I like to have the occasional food that is maybe not the best for me, but just being very consistent, 80 to 90% of the time when it comes to nutrition, and then also within the gym. Because my daughter is not going to learn from what I say once. She's going to learn from what we do repeatedly. So if she sees me making shakes, she sees me eating broccoli, she sees me eating other vegetables, chicken, salmon, high protein, going on runs, going to the gym. She's going to continue to see that time and time again because I can't tell her to eat good or to exercise if she doesn't see me doing that at my house. Like today, she got to see me go out there on my run because she was home this morning. She gets to cheer me on. I can see her from the window. I wave to her. She can tell when I'm getting on my outfit that I'm going for a run. So she's just continuing to see that over and over and over again. Not that she understands exactly what's going on, but I'm just trying to set that example for her. Don't make excuses. And this goes back to my previous points in today's episode where you just won't feel like doing it every day. There are plenty of days that I don't feel like training, I don't feel like running, I don't feel like getting up and going to the gym. But I know that that is normal, but that is not a signal to stop because every time I don't feel like doing something and I go out there and I do it, whether that's going for that run, whether that's going for that lift, you're pushing down that resistance, you're pushing down that voice in the back of your head, and then 2, you're gonna feel better because I've never gone off unless I'm like the one time I've gone on a run and I'm like, wow, I feel terrible. It's like if I have like an upper respiratory infection from coughing up, nasty stuff, and I'm going out there again for a run. But if I go for a run today where I don't want to go for a run, like this sucks. It just snowed 20 inches. Roads aren't clear. It's cold. There's freezing rain in my face. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like it. but I do it anyways, and I feel so much better after it because of I was going out there and getting it done. I want you to learn, or I want her to learn to act despite low motivation because that's what builds confidence. On the days I don't feel like doing it are the days that I need to go out there and push myself. Because if I give in, I listen to that voice say, "Oh, I'm a little sore. Oh, it's a little snowy outside," and I don't get it done. Well, what's gonna happen the next time around, and the next time around, and the next time around? And it's almost like I'm scared of that voice where I don't want to listen to it. So I want to push myself as much as I can so I can talk that voice down every single day. Because showing up imperfectly still counts. Discipline isn't about being extreme, it's about being honest with yourself when excuses start to sound convincing. Now, my daughter, she may never care about running marathons or going to the gym, but if she learns how to handle discomfort, stay consistent, fuel her body, and show up when it's hard, that's the win. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's episode on fitness lessons I want my daughter to learn, and I hope you tune into next week's episode where I discuss the long game of health as a father.